Nirvana.
Okay, welcome to part 5 of the Kurt Cobain Budget Mustang build. Going to get on with the wiring today. I've got my soldering iron turned on. I'll just give it a little shifty up there. So I'm setting it just over 300 degrees. Letting that warm up. So I've put the pots and the switches into the tone control panel. So that's going to be the volume, tone, obviously the input jack. So I've got the orange capacitor ready to go in. I've got the pickups put into the pick guard and the switches. I've already stripped the wiring down on the Seymour Duncan. So you have a black, which is going to be the hot. You have a green and a braided wire. They're going to be joined together and connected to the switch. The red and the white, they're for sort of phasing, cool splitting on the humbucker, so we ain't going to need that for this build. So you join them together. I'm going to solder them together and just tape them up with a bit of electrical tape, keep them out of the way. And that's my hot and ground on the neck pickup. So what I need to do is go around with all the connectors that I'm going to be using. So yeah, basically every one of these I'm going to go around and tin them. So what I'll do is I'll heat them up with the iron, just give them a little coating with some solder, and do the same on all the connections I'm going to be using on the pots and the input jack. So when I actually do go to solder, it makes for an easier, quicker, better solder join. I'll also be soldering the tips of the connections that I'm going to be using on the pickups, so hopefully you'll be able to see okay with the camera where it is. So you just need a little blob on each of the connections. Zoom you in a bit, hopefully you can see that. So these are the two I'm going to be joining together. So there's a bit of heat on the back. Just get them hot enough just so the solder melts. Same in that one. I'll do this green one as well. Okay, so all these connectors I'm going to be using every single one. So I'm going to put a bit of heat on the back and then just rub a bit of solder just around the join. Simple as that. I'm trying not to do what I just did and cover the hole. Okay, I'll do the same to the back ones. So we do the same to the pots now. I'm only going to be using this tang on the input jack. That's going to be for the hot. I'm going to be doing them two and all these three. This third one needs to be connected to the actual pot itself. So I need to bend that back and then we'll make a solder joint for that. So it sits on. So I'll just quickly go around and tin all the connectors that I need to use, and then I'll ground that one. Okay, so this is the one I need to connect to the body of the pot. So put a bit of heat to it and then just blob some solder in there. Right, so now I need to wire up the pickups So what I'm going to do is the hot into this tang, and I need to do a little loop into the one next to it. So I need to cut a little bit of wire off, and then we'll go from there. This wire I'm using here, this is the vintage style wiring with a cloth cover, but you can pull these back to expose the wire, so solder what you need and you can push them back through. So I'll get these two in. So hopefully you can see this pretty well. I'm going to get my light down. So a bit more light on the situation. So again, put the heat to the back of the connector, and then I'll just feed the solder through. Hopefully you can see this well. Okay, so we've got the first one in. They're connected fine. If you can see that well. Move that cable out of the way. Okay, so I've trimmed this loop wire down. I'm just going to feed it through the tang of the switch. And any excess I don't need, I'll trim off after. So we've got that through. So I'm going to put some heat to the back of it, a bit more solder. Okay, that's that one done. So just the excess wire, just snip that off, what I don't need. And that's done. Okay, so that's that one done. Then I need to do the same again with the black wire into this one, and then loop into the one next to it again. Okay, so that's connected. Oh, you can see that. Okay, so that's that one connected. I'll just trim them down. Okay, now I need to loop the next bit through. Right, so that's the neck pickup connector soldered in. So I'm just going to tape up the red and the white on the Seymour Duncan. I've soldered them together, so I need to tape them up just so they're covered out the way. Okay. Right, so what I need to do now is connect this black one to this. Let's point it out. I need to do similar to what I did to this one. So this black one joins onto there, loop onto the middle one, and then the green and the braided wire, they join into one this side, and that loops over to that one. Also in between there I'm going to put some I've got a spare bit of cabling just to cover, just put over there just to stop it touching anything. So first one, I'm going to get the black wire in, and again I have to put a little loop wire to the connector next to it. Right, so what I need to do now is connect the switches to the pots. So you need to sort of run a loop from this corner down to that corner, and then across to that connector, then off to that one, and then that feeds all the way to the hot on the volume control. And then on the ground side, I need to go from this connector to that connector to that connector to that one, and then that'll ground to the volume pickup. So I think we'll start with the hot, so I can get all that done and I can get that wired together. So I have to go from this connection on the outside of the pot. I'll show you on there. I need to go from that connector to that one on the tone control, and then from the middle one I need to go to the hot on the tone control. So I think we'll do all that now. That's going to be the white cable, or the cream. And yeah, so I'm gonna need a bit about that long. So we'll cut that there, and then across. Across again. Alright, that should be enough to get me over there. Who said it was easy? So I think what I'll do, I won't bore you with all the soldering because obviously I've showed you how to solder, so literally I just need to connect from that to that, that to there, that to there, and then I'll come back once I've got them wired in. Okay, so I've wired them in. I've got my ground and hot going to the tone controls. Again, it was getting a bit crammed in, so I had to sort of just get on with it without recording it because I'd have just kept blocking the camera anyway. So basically it just, the hot and the ground just loop through the corner pieces of the switches. So what I need to do now is just sort of eyeball this up, tuck these out of the way for the minute. I will tidy these up properly after, but I just need the ground and the hot going to the control panel cavity, which has got to be fed through the body. So I'll just move these out of the way. It's going to be a tight squeeze under there, that's for sure. Okay, so I've got that in. I'll give myself a little bit of slack. Alright, so what I need to do now is get that control panel. So there's going to be a ground. This one goes to the bridge terminal, which I've done in part 2. I think I put that in. So that's going to go, I'll sort of show you on a diagram. So I'm going to have the ground from the bridge joining up to here. This black cable, that's going to be joining onto there as well. That piece I've already folded onto the pot and grounded, so that's that bit done. And then get the main hot into this one and a little loop over to that. So I'll do these parts now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is heat up this tone control, get a nice blob of solder in there. Okay, so I've grounded them 2 wires to the pot there. This is going to be the hot going into that lug. I should snip a bit of that off. Okay, so I've got there, that's the bridge ground and the main ground from the switches soldered to the pot. So just heated it up, rested the tip over and just put some solder onto it. So we're doing the hot to the first lug of the volume pot, and then we need to do, oh, sorry, that closed. Alright, schoolboy error there. Okay, so we'll get that one in. Alright, and then we need to do a little loop from the first one of the volume control to the middle one of the tone control. Okay, so now we need a connection to go from the middle connector on the volume control to the hot on the input jack. Okay, so I've just soldered that connection on to the second connector on the volume control. So now we're going to do the orange drop capacitor. So I need to go from this first lug and then to join to one side of the capacitor. The other side then needs to be soldered down to the chassis of the tone control. So I need to work out how much I want to use. I'm going to just bend that back a little bit. So I'm probably going to go sort of right about there, and then this one I'll trim it to about there. So first of all I'll get this connection in, and get plenty of solder for this one. Get it nice and hot. Okay. Again, I'll try my best not to block the view. Okay, so let's snip the end of this one off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press down on the capacitor on the metal bit and move it out of the way, and then try and get a load of solder to run under it. That's the plan. Alright, I need something to hold it down. Okay, so that's in. That is in. I do believe we are wired up. So let me screw this all back together and we'll see if we can get a set of strings on it. Okay, so just getting some of the screws back in. What I'm going to do, obviously I've got to re-drill some of these holes. So I'm just going to get a few of the screws in on the pick guard and get its control panel in, because just in case there's any issues with the wiring, I can get it back off again pretty quickly. So let's move forward with that. Okay, so we're good there. Just going to stick a set of Fender strings on for now. I will get some Cobain ones eventually, but at the minute I've got a set of Fender, what are they, 10 to 46. So they'll do for now. Okay, so strings are on. We have power, neck pickup, bridge pickup. The only trouble I'm having at the minute is I'm going to turn a switch to the right on both. I'm getting, oh no, I'm getting it on that one. No. I think I'm having an issue with the cavity. I reckon something's touching against the cavity. But, I'm not sure if these switches are a bit dodgy. Nothing at all on this bridge one, only to this side. So I can get the bridge on, neck on, and then I can get them in phase. But there's definitely something not going right here. I think that one could be where it's touching the cavity the shielding paint. It might be touching that in grounding, but I'm getting nothing at all on the bridge, and I know there's a good gap on that, so yeah, I'm going to have to take that back off. For now, I'm going to leave it and just have a little play around, but check my wiring, because I was going by the standard Mustang sort of setup, and I was looking at this Cobain one that I've got, a wiring diagram, but it's not very clear on the wiring on the humbucker switch. So if anybody's got a definitive wiring diagram they can send me, just make sure I've got it right. But I've definitely got something going on that. That's grounding. This one is just nothing at all. So anyway, we'll make do what we got for now, and I'll quickly set the action, because I know it's pretty low. Yeah, we're at 1 mil, so I'm just going to raise the action up a little bit, and then we'll plug it in and have a little plug. Okay, so got it all plugged in. I'm on a neck pickup at the minute, so here we go. So it's going out of tune a bit. Right, bridge pickup. Phase. Got nothing on that. Got nothing in the outer phase, sort of this side. So we've got nothing. This neck one is temperamental. I'm actually wondering if it is the switches, you know. I'll check the grounding, make sure nothing's catching, but again, if anybody has wired one of these before, just make sure I've wired it correctly. All the joints are perfectly soldered in, but yeah, there's some. That's working again now. But that's not. So that's probably possibly a switch, but who knows? Anyway, that was part 5. Got it all together. Teething problems, but yeah, we'll get there. Another thing I had a problem with was this tailpiece. Cheap, budget, but when I went to loosen these off, this one rounded off, the screw holding the bottom in, so I've had to go straight in with the strings. Normally go in that way, wrap round and over. A lot of people swap these round and then go straight through. This is sort of what Cobain did. He did a straight through thing, but to be honest, I'll probably leave it like that. I used a wiggle stick anyway, so yeah, I'll leave it as it is. Yeah, got it wired up, but we've got problems. Again, if anybody can shed any light on it, let me know. But yeah, so far we're getting there, so let me know what you think to it in the comments below, whether you're sort of digging the sound of it at the minute, or is it not sounding right. But yeah, also let me know how you think it compares to a full-on Fender Mustang. I haven't got one at the minute, but what I will do is I'll get one of my old videos where I've reviewed one before, and I'll probably do a side-by-side comparison to see what they both sound like. But yeah, that's about it for now. So that was part 5. Thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, The Meat Manifesto. And yeah, hit the notification bell, stay up to date on all the latest videos. And that's about it. So thanks for watching. Peace out.